The one arm handstand is an elite calisthenics skill that most people waste years to learn because they don't know how to train properly for it. And in this video I will show you step by step how to do everything right so you can unlock it as fast as possible. But first of all, let's talk about what you should actually do before even starting to learn the one arm handstand, because this is where a lot of people are getting this wrong. Because people want to learn cool skills, I understand that. They want to learn the one arm handstand, the planche, front lever, and all of these elite skills, but they're rushing the process too much. And what most people do is they're just learning the normal handstand. They can kind of do it, but not consistently, not with a good form. Like they can hold it sometimes for 4 seconds, 5, sometimes 10, and they start already learning the one arm handstand. But it doesn't work like that. Like, the one arm handstand is an elite skill that literally, like, people are wasting years for. And if you don't build a strong foundation before that, if your normal handstand is not like perfect all the time, you're not going to get the one arm handstand. Like, first you need to build the foundation. And let me just tell you a little bit more about how I learned the one arm handstand. And by the way, I literally learned it in 2 months. Of course, it wasn't perfect for 2 months, but I unlocked my first handstand in 2 months. So before even thinking about the one arm handstand, I was doing the normal handstand for a few years. Of course, that's too much. You don't need to do it a few years, but you have to build the foundation. So I was spamming the normal handstand. I mastered all of the variations of the normal handstand. So the normal one, the bar handstand, the soupy handstand. I was very good at handstand push-ups. And then I was like, well, why don't I just learn the one arm handstand? I mean, I have a solid foundation, so I can just go and do it, right? So this is when I actually started training for it. And it literally took me like 2 months, while most people are wasting years for that. And it's not because I'm super talented or something like that. It's just because I had a great foundation. I was doing the normal handstand for a lot of time. I was super comfortable with it. And then once I started training properly for the one arm handstand, I actually got it pretty fast. So if you don't want to waste years of your life, how most people do, just master the normal handstand first and only then go into the one arm practice. And by the way, if you're learning the planche too, I have a special gift for you, so just check this video. It's literally like 30 seconds. I went from tuck to full planche in less than a year, and I made such a crazy progress because I trained hard but also smart. And most people skip the second part, and this is why they are staying stuck on the same progression for months, sometimes even years. They think that just training hard and always pushing to failure every single workout is going to make them progress, but it doesn't work like that. And this is why I created my free planche guide, where I explain you the proper technique of every single progression and planche exercise, and also you're going to get a training program that you can follow step by step. So if you want to get the guide, once again, it's completely free. Just DM me the word progress on Instagram. I will leave the link in the description and I will send it to you. Okay, and now let's talk about how to actually start training properly for the one arm handstand. And no, we don't need 1000 fancy exercises. What we need is just 2 things. The first one is proper attempts with the right intention and with the right form. And the second one is just one exercise that we're going to use. So I'm going to show you the exercise just in a second, but when we are starting to learn the one arm handstand, we are going to start with the straddle variation. So your legs are going to be like on straddle, because this is going to be easier also in terms of strength and in terms of balance. So the thing that you want to focus on is doing attempts when you're super fresh in the beginning of your workout. So you do the warm-up, and before starting with your working sets for the workout, it doesn't matter if you're training skills, weighted calisthenics, endurance, or something else. Before going into your working sets, you want to do a few high quality one arm handstand attempts. Okay, when you're going to be the most fresh, because this is a coordination skill, and you want to be super fresh when you're learning a new coordination skill. So this is the first thing. And the second thing that we are going to do is the exercise that I told you about. So this is going to be a finger progression. You're going to lean to your strong arm, and you're just going to help yourself with the fingers from the other hand. I'm just going to show you in a second how it's going to look like. And you're going to do this exercise during your workout when you're resting between your sets. For example, you're doing a planche set, you're resting from the set, you can do one like one arm handstand attempt of this exercise, or if you're still feeling fresh, you can do another like attempt for the actual handstand, not just with the finger progression. But it's very important to do a few quality attempts in the beginning of the workout, and later do this exercise that I'm going to show you when you're going to rest between your sets. For example, as I said, you do a planche set, you do a front lever set, you're resting, and you can do this exercise in between the sets. But make sure that you're not going to spam too many attempts and too many sets of this exercise, especially when you're just starting, because it might be too much on your joints and you might have some pain, so be careful with the volume. So basically how this exercise is going to look, I'm just going to get into the one arm handstand now and take a look at my fingers, okay? I'm going to shift my weight to my strong arm and I'm going to help myself with the left one. So I'm shifting my weight and holding it like that with the other arm, with 5 fingers. Once you get a little bit better at it, once you start feeling the balance, you're going to hold it with 4 fingers, then with 3, then with 2, and then with only 1. So it's going to look like that. And whenever you're going to feel super comfortable with it, and for example, you can hold it with just 1 finger for, let's say, like 5 seconds, 6. This is when you can start going into the exercise, helping yourself with 1 finger and then lifting the finger. And once you get a little bit more comfortable with the straddle variation of the one arm handstand, for example, you can already hold it for like 5 to 6 seconds, pretty much consistently, let's say 5 or 6 times out of 10. This is when you can start attempting the full one arm handstand with legs together. In terms of technique, it's basically going to be the same. You still wanna do the transition slowly and transition your weight to the strong arm. And this is actually the moment when you can also start practicing the one arm handstand on your weak arm, but the straddle variation. So you learn the full variation of the strong arm and the straddle variation of the weak arm. And now let's talk a little bit more about the actual technique of the one arm handstand. So the first thing that you need to do when you're going to transition from a normal handstand to a one arm handstand is, first of all, you want to transition your weight slowly. And when you're going to transition your weight, the first thing that you're going to focus on is locking the elbow, okay? Because if you're going to enter the one arm handstand with a bent arm, it's going to be way harder for the balance. So you have to lock the elbow. That's the first thing. The second thing, you want to elevate your scapula. So this is like a normal position of the scapula. This is going to be elevated. So when you're doing a normal handstand, you're elevating your shoulders, and this is the same for the one arm. So when you're transitioning, you don't want to be like that. This is like a deep rest position. You want to elevate it. So you want to go it like, think about like forcing your shoulder to go up. So this is going to elevate your scapula while keeping the elbow locked. And this is when you're slowly transitioning the weight, when you're elevating your scapula. And another very important thing is to keep the parallels closer to each other, okay? The closer the better, because it's going to be easier to actually shift your weight and transition. It's kind of windy here. I hope that you can hear me good, but it's super important because the closer the parallels, the easier it is going to be to transition. And another very important thing is when you are going to hold the one arm, think about pointing your biceps a little bit forward, okay? So you want to rotate your arm like that. Your biceps are going to be on 45 degrees forward. If you're going to keep your arm like that and your biceps are looking inside, it's going to be very hard for the balance. So you want to lock the arm, point your biceps a little bit forward, and elevate the scapula. The next thing that you need to focus on when you're transitioning the weight from the normal handstand to the one arm handstand is to focus on your weak arm, because it also plays a huge role. So as I told you already, you need to lock the elbow, but you need to lock the elbow on the left arm too, if the right one is your strong, obviously. So when you're going to transition, you're slowly lifting the left arm and you're keeping it straight. You don't keep it like that, you don't move it like that, you keep it straight and you keep it close to the parallels. Let me actually show you. So you want to lift it and lock it. Not like that. Because you can see that when I started moving my arm, I lost the balance immediately. So when you lock your joints on both hands, it's going to be way more comfortable and way easier in terms of balance and strength. The next thing that we need to keep in mind when we are doing the one arm handstand is to be completely straight, okay? You don't wanna do it in a banana form, because yes, in the normal handstand, if you're going to have a banana form, yes, you're not going to fall, most likely you're going to have the balance, but in the one arm handstand, no chance. If you're going to transition with the wrong form and you're going to arch your back and it's going to be like an ugly banana form, like there is no way that you're going to hold it. So let me show you. As you can see, when I'm transitioning my weight, if I'm going to arch my back super much, I'm just going to fall forward, okay? And if your scapula is not going to be elevated and it's going to be depressed, you're going to just fall backwards. You can see when I'm not elevating my shoulders, when it's depressed, I'm just going to fall backwards because my weight is going to be backwards. And the last technique aspect of the one arm handstand that we want to focus on is having, like, you need to imagine how you're going to have a clean line, like during your whole body, from your right arm to the left leg. Obviously, if your right arm is your strong arm. And it's kind of hard to explain. I'm just going to put a picture here of me doing a straddle one arm handstand, and I'm going to put a line so that you can actually see what I'm talking about. And every single time when you're going to do a straddle handstand, one arm handstand, just imagine how you're going to put your arm and your leg in this line, and once you're going to be in this perfect line, you're going to be able to actually lift the other hand, and it means that your weight is in this line. So this is when you're actually ready to lift your hand. And basically that was it for the video today. Follow the tips that I just gave you, and this is everything that you need in order to unlock the one arm handstand as fast as possible. And if you're serious about calisthenics and you feel like you need some professional help for unlocking your dream skills like the one arm handstand, the planche, the front lever, or something else, you can apply for my one-on-one coaching. It's the first link in the description. It's just a simple application. You can fill it out. I'm going to reach out to you and we are going to see if you're going to be a good fit for my coaching. And once again, take action, expect redemption, and see you in the next one.